Hello guys, this is Trinity Storm here and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do fifth part of what if Naruto was the savior of the Holy Grail. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to follow me on my other social media handles. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
The following day, following the meeting. It's been 5 days since the Holy Grail War officially began. So far, no servants or masters have been eliminated. The distinction between the 4th and 5th Holy Grail Wars is obvious. Unlike the 4th War, the 5th War participant is usually not a proper magus or is only a teenager, whereas the 4th War participant is an experienced magus who has killed and gone through battle. Shinji Matu was currently talking with his servant, Ryder. "What do you mean Emiya discovered it was you who put up the barrier?" Shinji insisted. "How did he learn about it?" "You ineffective servant." Ignoring the insult, Ryder responded, "I don't know how, but I assume the boy was asked directly to Caster last night." Shinji growled in response, clearly dissatisfied with the situation. He actually has no problem dealing with Emiya on his own. He can handle it. But Tasaka is a different story. He is unable to attend school. Again. He had already been gone for 2 days. And he might not be able to anymore, given that Tasaka and Emiya are probably waiting for him now. Unless. Ryder, is Blood Fort Andromeda prepared? Shinji inquired. Yes. We can activate it whenever we want. Ryder responded monotonously. Shinji smirked cruelly as a plan began to form in his mind. Andromeda's Blood Fort. That noble phantasm is very good for Shinji. A boundary field sucking the life force. Victims within the barrier are dissolved into blood as if in a stomach, and their magical energy is transferred to Ryder or her master. It's even close to sorcery. He's got the boundary field on his side. Good. We'll activate it after breakfast. We will catch them off guard when everyone is studying. Shinji stated. While it is true that he has no chance against Tasaka and Emiya together, there is another case inside the barrier. Shinji had no doubt Shuru would wither and become ineffective within the barrier, heck. He might even die right away. Tasaka may be able to stand, but she will have difficulty as well. Even with her servant, she will be unable to defeat riders who absorb mana properly through the barrier. Yes. Yes. His will be the victory. Does that imply you're going to school? Ryder inquired, and Shinji scoffed. No way, not with these people. I'll arrive late and immediately activate the barrier. Shinji explained as he turned around. Come on, it's still noon, but that doesn't mean you can't eat. We'll look for a few things that will help you in battle later. Ryder remained silent and followed her master without saying anything. She has a very bad feeling about this, and Shinji clearly underestimated the enemy. But she also knows Shinji isn't going to listen to her. After all, she is only a slave to him. She can only hope that her bad feeling is just that. She can't perish. No, not yet. Not until Sakura saves herself. On the way to school with Shuru and Rin. Do you understand, Emiya-kun? Rin inquired, his face solemn. Yes, Shuru replied. This morning, he and Tasaka discussed how they would deal with Shinji if the blue-haired master showed up at school. They will act as if nothing has happened, but they will strike Shinji after school. Archer will keep guarding from afar, while Saber will arrive early before school ends. When it comes to Saber, the servant of sword condition is slightly better. She didn't know what she wanted after she rested and reflected on her decision. But, strangely, that made her feel a little relieved. She said she'd be ready in battle and didn't need to worry anymore. She is still keeping her identity hidden because Rin and she could become enemies. Shuru fixed his gaze on Tasaka. This morning, the raven-haired girl is furious. Oh no, she's enraged. Mad is far superior to what she did this morning after berating him about Shinji. Though she is improving, Shuru cannot help but feel guilty. Tasaka put her trust in him, but he betrayed her. He is furious with himself. There's also Sakura to consider. While Shinji is not present, Sakura is. However, the purple-haired girl appears to be drifting away from him. He had no idea why Sakura seemed to be staring at him all the time. Tasaka. When he and Tasaka talk, if they happen to cross paths with Sakura, the purple-haired girl looks at the raven-haired one. What happened between them? Is there something going on that he isn't aware of? Then there's Ilya's issue. Ilya, in his opinion, is a lovely young lady. She returned to the castle as soon as the little girl arrived at his house last night. The problem is that she refuses to work with Rin, but she didn't have a problem with him. However, she promised to come to his aid whenever he needed it, so he didn't have to worry. Though it relieved him, it only added to his confusion. Ilya remains a mystery to him. One day she comes and wants to kill him, the next day she opens up like someone he has known since he was a child. And her affection for him is more intimate as opposed to friend. And it's also not helping Tasaka's habit of staring at Ilya whenever she gets too close. Really? When did his life become so complicated? Suddenly, a familiar voice drew his attention, and he cocked his head in that direction. Then his eyes widened slightly. Emiya-kun? Rin noticed Shuru stop, so she did as well. She follows his gaze, her eyes widening in surprise. So you play it this way? Yeah. That's correct, Oni-chan. I see what you mean. Let's get started. Hop, hop, and hop. Wah. Oni-chan is incredible. Saver is standing in the park, playing ball with children. He's dressed in an orange hoodie, long blue jeans, and black shoes. His face is beaming with delight as he maneuvers the ball on his foot. The children around him make impressive noises and stare at him as if he were some sort of idol. He. This is insignificant. Take note of this. Smugly, Saver said as he leapt the ball up before it landed on his head. The ball did not roll or twitch as it landed. It's as if there's glue on his head that holds the ball in place. Shuru then notices Saver begin to perform an unusual dance and make an unusual noise. The ball has not twitched and remains firmly affixed to the top of his head, which is impressive. However, is this the same person who spoke with us last night? Shuru perspired as he watched Naruto dance like figure from a children's cartoon. Is that the same person we spoke to last night? Rin deadpanned to the side, saying exactly what Shuru had in mind. It appears. Shuru responded in an unusual tone. Saver was different last night. Shuru could feel Saver's aura and wisdom last night. There is no indication that he is someone as childish as this. Instead, it demonstrates his pure regal charisma that flowed to them. Shuru must admit. Saver is quite unpredictable. He's nice. He is very kind, but he can also become very cold. It was evident last night when he chastised Saber. He recalls the gift he received from him the night before. It was proven true that it was used for Dalal activity. He purchased the most recent and expensive pressure cooker to cook in. Needless to say, he was overjoyed to receive such a gift. Meanwhile, Rin received a gold. Yes, a gold. A gold pack. Shuru had no idea why Saver had given such a gift to Tasaka, but the girls appeared to be overjoyed when they saw the gift. She mutters about her financial situation returning or the house of Tasaka regaining its glory. Yes. Something along those lines. Meanwhile, Ilya obtained a snowman miniature. It was wrapped inside a glassy ball that continued to shower snow on the snowman inside. As if aware that he is being watched, Saver turns to them and waves his hands. Morning. Rin-chan, Shuru-kun. He said hello. Shuru, upon seeing this, smiled and waved his hand back. Rin nods stoically from his side. Come on, Emiya-kun, if we keep Watching him, we'll be late. Rin grumbled dissatisfiedly. While it is true that Saver is kind, this does not change the fact that he is the greatest threat in this war. Goodbye, Saver. Shuru yelled as he followed Rin, and Saver only nodded before returning to playing with children. Shuru began to speak after a few minutes of walking. Saver is a very easygoing guy, eh? He made a remark. He is, of course. He can be like that because he is the most powerful servant. Rin mumbled, that man is an outlier. An existence that should not be called upon. He's far too powerful, damn it. She screamed to the sky as she remembered Saver's ability. Shuru, on her side, could only offer a forced smile and raise his hand to calm her. Don't be like that, Tasaka. He's strong, but that doesn't mean he can't be defeated, right? Of course I am aware. But even so. Rin grumbled some more, clearly still upset about Saver. He is too dangerous to ignore. It will take Berserker, Saber, and Archer to bring him down, but Rin is unsure if that is enough. They may require additional assistance, but in her mind, it was more than enough. Tasaka, cheer up. We're already close to school. We can't have everyone seeing you like this, right? Shuru stated in a supportive tone. Rin paused and took a deep breath. Shuru, you're correct. She can think about it later. For the time being, she must maintain her posture to protect her reputation. Not to mention the possibility of a battle with Shinji today. You're correct, Emiyu-kun, and thank you. Rin stated sincerely while smiling. Thank you. Shuru returned their smile as they walked to the academy. She was the ideal child. She was astute. She was stunning. She was gentle. Kind. Caring. She praised her parents. Always and forever. Praise and adoration. Her entire family is always happy for her. They are proud of her. They all adore her. They give her a friendly smile. Her friends are envious of her. Nonetheless, they continue to adore her. She is ideal. She was initially pleased. She was overjoyed when her father complimented her. She is overjoyed that she has made her parents proud. Happy makes everyone around her happy. Then. It was nothing. Praise. Love. Everything has become monotonous. The world around her has become monotonous. There was nothing else to keep her entertained. She had lost her cheerfulness. She had lost the ecstasy that had been coursing through her veins. No one understands her. No one sees her dull eyes. No one sees her true face. Except for one. Her mother. Her mother notices it. She notices her boredom. Her mother resembles her. Her pale skin, blonde hair, and sapphire blue eyes. It reminds him of Yamanaka. Her mother recognizes her boredom. But she is powerless. She can only stop her. Fill her boredom with something new. But it didn't work. Finally, her mother died while giving birth to her younger sister. She is depressed. Her mother's death was the first sadness she ever felt in her life. Nobody will show her anything interesting. Nobody comprehends her. Nobody teaches her. Nobody can help her. As a result, her life has become dull. Even duller than before. Her existence has lost all meaning. It was late at night. A dark night with a single brightly shining full moon. The stars, like the moon, are also bright. Overall, it appears to be a good and peaceful night. But it's not the case. Chaos. Blood. Destruction. Dead. Malice. They were all swirling in that night. Manaka had no idea what had happened. She went to sleep one night after Naruto landed Anchor Mansion somewhere and returned to her house while Naruto looked after the flying fortress. Then she comes in. She was floating in the sky. She can sense it. She watched with wide eyes as something devastated an entire peaceful village. While this would normally cause people to stare in horror, Manaka isn't your average person. But she is still afraid. Fear of that thing. Its aura is filled with hatred, much like the one that coated that woman in her place. But it does not take the form of a humanoid shadow. No, it's worse. It was a fox with 9 tails. No. Even a giant is nothing in comparison to this. It was the most and largest creature Manaka had ever seen. She had read about phantasmal beasts, the largest of which is the dragon. But they're still small in comparison to this demon fox. Manaka is unsure, but she does know that the demon is larger than a mountain. What kind of being could be this massive? The demon fox is rampaging through the village, destroying everything. Its single roar destroys a section of the village. Like a raging storm. And all it does is roar. Manaka sees hundreds and thousands. Ninja? Is Ninja wearing that outfit? Aren't they supposed to be mysterious? She notices hundreds of ninja yelling and launches numerous attacks against the demon fox. They launch fire, wind, kunai, shuriken, water, and lightning. The number of attacks they launch makes the Mage Association look like a farce. But nothing worked. The demon fox roared even louder, as if the attack was a bug that disturbed it. Given the fox's size, it's reasonable to assume. Just one man. He was getting old. He's wearing a samurai-style helmet and a black outfit. She read the fire kanji on the back. By no means was the man old, but Manaka could see the man holding fire in his eyes. It was bright, as if it were a young man rather than an old man. The old man with the staff. It's small at first, but it quickly grows into a massive staff. A massive staff the size of a fox's head. Impressive. As he led the army and began to attack the fox, the old warrior appears to be the best warrior in the field. The army then begins to push back. They engage the giant in battle by becoming bait and unleashing a slew of elemental attacks with the assistance of the old warrior who guides them. Manaka sees someone transform into a giant and engage the fox in a melee battle for a few seconds before throwing the fox away. Then hundreds of ninja soared into the sky, creating a massive drill, and smashed into the fox, pushing it even further. Another 100 ninja kneeled and their shadows bended, crawling to the fox like a snake, stopping it from moving and allowing the demon fox to be hit by the giant man once more. Then another man with blonde hair performed hand seals, appearing to give everyone the signal, and the dark night was engulfed in blue light as Manaka noticed the ninja and warriors' bodies glowing. They set it off. An all-out assault. Hundreds of fire, lightning, wind, and elemental attacks, as well as an unusual one, soared to the demon fox. It was hit by the attacks. The sheer power and number of attacks gradually overwhelmed the demon fox who was hit. It was pushed back before being thrown away from the village and landed on the ground. Manaka smiled as she saw the giant fox being pushed away from the village by the old warrior guide. What? Even if she's twisted, she'll cheer if she sees a giant demon like that push away from that village. It's also a great show. However, to everyone's surprise, it isn't working. It didn't accomplish anything. It only aggravates the demon fox. The demon fox roared in rage, and its roar shook the entire earth, its tails swinging and causing havoc everywhere. The demon fox cocked its head, and an abomination sphere appeared on the tip of its mouth. Death. The fox's aura, combined with the technique, reeks of death. Even Manaka can't help but be terrified. She can predict that the village will be destroyed. She had no doubt. That attack would destroy the entire village, including everyone. She can even see how the entire warriors have lost hope, seeing how the demon fox isn't even bothered by their attacks. Poof. Not so fast, you cretin. Bam. Then, out of nowhere, a massive pool of white smoke appears above the fox, followed by a massive toad half the size of the fox. The toad slammed its body into the fox's back, causing the giant fox to stumble and fall, effectively ending the attack. Manaka looked around at the scene, clearly trying to process what she is seeing. This was the largest toad she'd ever seen. A toad monster? However, she was not given the opportunity to think further because she heard one ninja yell. Minato? The old warrior yelled as he lifted his head to see who was riding the fox. Manaka tilted her head, her eyes widened as she followed the old man's gaze. Naruto? Manaka reflected as she gazed at the man perched atop the toad. It's Hokage Yondaime. Finally. As they saw Naruto arrive and save everyone, the warriors and ninja began to cheer. The giant fox roared as it was pummeled down. It tried to free itself, but the toad was tenacious and held the fox down. No, Naruto. A relative? Manaka noticed the man resembles her emperor, but it is not. While he is as attractive as Naruto, he lacks the whisker marks that make Naruto look cute at times. Now. Yondaime. The toad yelled. Manaka notices the Yondaime Hokage jump from the top of the toad, land on part of the body of the fox, and perform hand seals before a yellow blinding light appears through his body, forcing everyone, including Manaka, to cover their eyes. As a result, everything became white. Manaka's eyes popped open from his slumber. She sat down immediately and gasped for air. As she recalled her dream, cold sweat dripped from her brow. Is it cycle of dream? That made perfect sense. She had heard that there is something that will strengthen the bond between servant and master. Does this imply that the dream she just witnessed is Naruto's past? Manaka decides to reconsider later. She turned around and saw that it was 9 a.m. It was late. She usually wakes up around 6 or 7, and it appears that the dream also made her sleep deeper. She removes the blanket, exposing her slender figure, which is dressed in nothing but light blue panties and an orange tank top. She entered the bathroom and began to undress her outfit before entering the shower, as she did every morning. Fox with 9 tails. Manaka pondered. Demon. Manaka is not unfamiliar with the sensation of fear. But that doesn't mean she feels it all the time. Fear is almost non-existent for her. She doesn't even fear death. It didn't matter if she died. She didn't have any issues. So when she fears something, it means that the being she fears is not only terrifying in terms of destruction. But there is also a mental aspect. After all, there are many things scarier than death and destruction. That fox, though. It exuded such hatred and murderous intent. Even though Manaka is not standing there, she can sense its power and malicious aura. 9-tailed fox. Tamamo no Mae, the fox spirit I knew. Manaka murmured to herself as she washed herself with soap. But that's not possible. The legend of Tamamo no Mae has nothing to do with this story. Sure, she was described as killing people, but what she just witnessed was not killing. It was a scene of devastation and chaos. And then there are the ninjas. All of them are clearly experienced warriors with a high level of mastery over elements and various techniques, but they are never mentioned in history. Not to mention the man who turned into a giant. Come on, people. That's not magecraft, is it? The man grew to the size of a mountain. That shadow technique was also creepy, but it was able to press the demon fox movement. It was excellent technique. All of those wonderful things should be recorded in history. The fighting style and technique. Each of their talents should be known throughout the world. But it's never happened. Except. The world itself wipes them out. Manaka pondered. Manaka deduced from the dream's scenery that Naruto has clearly returned from the Age of Gods. It is possible that he is a mysterious legend, as there are many legends that have yet to be discovered in this era, even with the assistance of magecraft. But that is ridiculous. What she's just seen is something big. Such a demon of that caliber may even rival gods, or at the very least be considered one. And those ninja warriors are clearly something else. That old man and Yondaime Hokage should be remembered for their strength. And that toad as well. She had never heard of anyone summoning toads or riding on top of them in her life. Toad, what kind of phantasmal beast are you? All of that should be recorded, and there should be data about it. But his father, who conducted extensive research, discovered no trace of Naruto Uzumaki. Or the Naruto data is actually hidden by Clock Tower. Manaka scowled before sighing and allowing the water to wash over the soap on her body. That was also an option. But it's nearly impossible. To erase history or at least hide some records, whoever the Magus is, he or she must be a very important person. It's pointless to think about it right now. If I see Naruto in the past, does that mean he will see mine as well? Manaka wondered. She inquired of no one. That was the obvious one. Naruto will, of course, see her past if she sees his. But where has Naruto gone? In her dream, she didn't see him anywhere. This is becoming increasingly perplexing. But also intriguing. So far. This war has shown her every emotion she has never felt before. She hasn't felt happy, sad, fearful, or anything else in the last 2 years. It's only been a week since she summoned Savor, and she must admit, she's never felt so happy, joyful, excited, curious, or anything else in her entire life. This war is a fascinating event. She hummed a beautiful lullaby as she turned off the shower and dried herself with a towel before exiting. She puts on a blue dress, but it is not her usual dress. This time, the dress completely covers the top part of her body, despite the fact that the design is similar. She goes downstairs and sees Naruto, who is dressed in an orange hooded sweatshirt and black and orange long pants, last movie off-duty outfit, except the pants are long. When she goes down, she notices Naruto reading a book in the dining room, and the older blonde turns to her. Manaka-chan, you awoke late this morning. I was about to wake you up, but after seeing how well you sleep, I decided you needed more rest. How did your sleep go? Naruto inquired before motioning to one of his clones to heat the breakfast he prepared for Manaka in the morning. It's not so bad, I had a strange dream, maybe that's why I woke up late. Manaka responded as she sat in the dining room and saw one of Naruto's maids, disguised as a butler, place food on her table. Oh? Naruto narrowed his eyes. He had a dream the night before, and according to the information he received, it was caused by the cycle of dreams. The dream depicts servant and master's past and memories. The goal is to get servant and master to know each other better. He is curious as to what Manaka sees. Manaka explained, as if reading her mind, I had a dream about a giant nine-tailed fox attacking some village. Oh, that one. I see. So you've seen Kyuubi, which means you've seen what happened when I was born. Naruto said this while rubbing his chin and setting his book on the table. Is Kyuubi the name of a demon? She inquired. No, it's actually Kurama. Kyuubi is just a tittle. Well, how far do you see? Naruto corrected. I see your village ninja fighting against it. My last vision is of Yondaime Hokage approaching the Kyuubi, performing hand seals, and having light engulf him and the Kyuubi. So you see my father facing Kurama and then teleport him, eh? Naruto hummed with a thoughtful expression. Father? Now I see the parallel. Naruto looks exactly like his father, but with whisker marks and a different face and eyes. Manaka pondered, I'm not sure what I'm missing, but I'm aware that the cycle of dreams allows you to see your past. But I'm not sure why I didn't see you anywhere near the event. Naruto was also perplexed by this. The cycle of dreams is depicting someone's past based on his memories, but he never had that one. True, he recalls his birth and his father's confrontation with Obito, as well as how Kyuubi sealed him and his mother in seal before. Could it be something from Pure Land? Now that I think about it, my memory in Pure Land is a little foggy. I only remember Justice approaching me and asking for my assistance. Yeah, according to my research, the people who were summoned back from Pure Land didn't remember anything that happened there. So it's feasible. Naruto reflected on the information he had gathered. He only remembers meeting Hinata and grown-up Boruto in Himawari, as well as all his generation's friends and family, but nothing else. Well, let's just say my father is a skilled sealer, and he entrusted some of his memories to the seal, allowing me to discover the truth. Naruto responded to Monaka. Can he do that? Monaka was actually taken aback by this. To accomplish something like that, his father must be a genius. It's no surprise Naruto inherited his brain. Oh, if she only knew. My father is a great seal master. He actually can do more than that. Naruto chuckled. It was correct. Minato's skill in seals is so good that he can be considered Uzumaki, even though he is not. Sadly, Naruto did not inherit his seal genius. He is good at seals because of Kage Bunshin and years of training with him. And you appear to have inherited his genius. Monaka muttered. Naruto blinked when he heard that. Monaka was confused when he burst out laughing. Him? Genius? Perhaps in terms of hard work, but he is not a genius. He may be good on the battlefield, but when it comes to studying or anything else, he is anything but brilliant. He read the book not because he enjoyed it, but because it had to be done. He'll need the knowledge when he meets with Magus to send this Zeret person home. Oh, and he read it to deal with Ainsburn. Naruto has already stated that he will deal with them. Just keep watching the dream, Monaka-chan, okay? He said this after he had finished laughing. Okay. Monaka's only response is that she is confused, but she decides to think about it later. And what about the old warrior with the massive staff? Who is he? A huge staff? Is she saying? Does this person have black armor on and the kanji fire on his back? Naruto inquired. Yes. Now I see it, the design reminds me of your hat and coat. Monaka stated while recalling Naruto's battle outfit. Oh, that reminds me of something. Hiruzen Sarutobi, that was Sandaime Hokage. Naruto informed her, when the demon fox curses me, I summon Hiruzen Sarutobi, also known as Jiji-chan. Is one of the few people who treats me like a human. To me, he's like a surrogate grandfather. He elaborated. I see. Monaka murmured, another piece of information in her possession. She will look into Hiruzen Sarutobi later. What exactly is Hokage? Your father Yondaime is also referred to as Hokage by the ninja. She continues to inquire. Hokage. You see, when I lived there, the area was divided into several countries and villages. However, only 5 of those countries and villages rank first and are the strongest. Naruto stated, Konohagakure no Sado, Kumogakure no Sado, Iwagakure no Sado, Sanagakure no Sado, and Kirigakure no Sado are on the list. Each village leader gains Kage on their last tittle, and the front name is derived from the village's location. Monaka began to mull over the information she had gathered. Hidden village in the leaves, clouds, rock, sand, and mist. She cast a curious glance at Naruto. Are you from Konohagakure? That's why you give Lancer a hint about a hero from the village who is hiding in the leaf. It's the hero from the village hidden in the leaves. Monaka exclaimed with a sympathetic expression. You're right, Monaka Heim, another impressive deduction. Monaka beams with happiness as Naruto praises her with a nod. As a result, Naruto began to explain to Monaka the village where Konohagakure and other villages reside. How they do their jobs and how their leaders are chosen. So you are descended from royalty. Monaka muttered as she finished digesting all of the information she had received. She must admit that she is impressed by how the Naruto era performs their duties, but it also confuses her. 5 secret villages. Those 5 should have been recorded in history or something. Not to mention their technology. But how exactly? What happened to cause the entire large area to vanish? Is it the gods' decision to end the Naruto era after his death and erase their existence? That is, in fact, the only logical explanation. seeing Naruto claim to have fought and defeated Goddess. The gods may become enraged and end the Naruto era. I don't know what to think. As much as I despise admitting it, the more I learn about him, the more I lose. Manaka sighed depressedly as she remembered all the information she had gathered. Nothing about Naruto makes sense. The only logical explanation she can derive from all of the information is A. Gods erase everyone in Naruto's era, leaving only a few survivors. If this is true, she won't be able to find anything about him. B. The clock tower knows about Naruto but keeps him hidden for unknown reasons. If this is true, the only way to find out about him is to contact some wizard marshal or one of the lords. Depending on the classified information, the only way to get it is from Wizard Marshal. The Queen is not an option, which leaves only Kizcher Zelrech, the Kaleidoscope. C. Naruto's history takes place near the beginning of the world, when gods and everything are born. Naruto and his group are the first humans to walk the Earth's surface, and their history is so ancient that it has been forgotten. Except for option B, all options lead to an almost impossible situation. I've never had a headache like this in my life, and while it was fun to feel it, it was mostly annoying. Manaka pondered. Naruto is amused by the conflict in Manaka's mind. He knew that no matter how hard Manaka looked for him, she'd never find him. Why? Because he is not from this world, it is impossible to find information about him. Guess what? This week, I'll tell you about myself. Naruto's words caused Manaka to smile before she scowled. But you must realize it will be useless, right? Nothing about me can be found. And even if you do, it will be a long time before the war is over. Naruto laughed as he said this. Manaka sighed, as Naruto had predicted. As much as she despises admitting it, the war will end before she learns anything about him. Fine. I'm done. Manaka pouted as she admitted defeat. All right. Naruto said as he nodded with a big grin, causing the girl to grumble and sighed. So, what are we going to do today? She inquired, slightly eagerly. She is no longer in a bad mood, and she is looking forward to seeing what else Naruto has in store for her. Well, I'm sure everyone has already formed an alliance. The question is, when will they attack us? Naruto mused as he relaxedly leaned back in his chair. So we just keep quiet and wait for them to attack? Manaka inquired, a slight frown on her face. Certainly not. Naruto laughed. Maybe, but we're going to move. Just not today or anytime soon. Castor is our target. Castor? Why? Castor is the most troublesome of the characters. Without a doubt, she will try to finish her territory creation right now, and if she has enough time, she will become dangerous. I'm not afraid of her, but something about her makes me nervous. Naruto stated, and my instincts were always correct. It happens from time to time, but not all the time, and it is usually correct. He added, slightly sheepishly. I see. But you'll be fine, right? Manaka inquired. Of course I am, she says. Naruto stated unequivocally, but it was you who worried me. I'm not sure who Castor was, but women in the age of man did not have pointed ears like that. Naruto said this while gesticulating to his own ears, recalling seeing Castor ears. The knowledge he gained from Throne of Heroes and his research. Manaka's eyes widen a little when she hears that. Naruto is correct. How could she have missed that? She scowls at her own folly. If Castor is truly Magus from the Age of Gods, she is more dangerous than she realized. Castor, while not as strong as Saber or Berserker, will become more dangerous than Assassin over time, and Naruto lacks magic resistance, making him more dangerous. We need to get out of here. Naruto declared, it's only a matter of time before Castor discovers where we live and causes a problem. But where to? Manaka inquired, blinking. To the hotel. Naruto responded bluntly. Manaka blinked in response. Hotel? Blush slowly appeared on her face, her eyes took on a strange gleam, and she leered at Naruto. "Well, so you begin to." "I'm kidding, we're going to the cottage where that woman found it." Naruto laughed as he pointed to the guest room. The master of Savor pouted and glared at Naruto, though the older blonde was unaffected. "It's cruel, you know, getting my hopes up and then slamming them down." "It's your fault you hoped." Monaka huffed as Naruto snorted with a foxy grin. However, Naruto felt a jolt in his head and blinked before turning his head in some direction. "Naruto? What's the problem?" Monaka inquired as she noticed Naruto's expression. "Shuru-kun appears to be calling me with his kunai. I'm not sure why he called me this morning." Naruto murmured before turning to face his master. "So, Monaka-chan. Okay, I'll go for a while. You pack your belongings, and we'll leave as soon as I get back." Naruto told her as he stood there. "Well, if you say so." Monaka stated uncertainly, "Take care. It might be a trap." "Don't be concerned. I'll be ready for that." Naruto stated, and it is true, that his clone is gathering mana somewhere, and if it is dispelled, Naruto will enter Sage Mode immediately. If it was a trap, he could use a flashback to escape. "You can see and hear through my eyes and ears." Naruto responded by crossing his fingers and summoning 5 Kage Bunshin to his side. "These 5 will protect you, but don't worry, there is also a barrier and a boundary field that protects this house. See ya." Naruto vanished in an orange flash, leaving Monaka with the clones. I'm curious what happened to Emiya-san, eh?" Monaka murmured as she began to watch through Savor's eyes. Earlier, Shuru was terrified. When he realized Shinji was missing again this morning, he was not surprised. However, nothing has changed. Following that, they intend to visit Matu residence right away. Shuru would normally disagree, but with the boundary field covering the entire school and ready to suck them dry? Oh, he agrees, though his mouth is still bitter. Shinji won't be able to stop them with Saber and Archer on their side. And, as usual, when morning comes, he and Tasaka discuss their plan further in the roof. Despite the fact that they talk about other things, they take longer than usual and are thus late for class. However, just as they were about to descend from the roof, the boundary field became active. The entire earth is trembling, and everything around them has turned crimson blood. What's more dangerous is that Tasaka is unable to contact Archer. The boundary field is clearly of high quality, possibly approaching the level of sorcery, as it has isolated them and prevented them from contacting their servants. He and Tasaka went right away to check on the students. So here he is, holding Sakura, who has just collapsed from exhaustion, thanks to the boundary field. Emiya-kun. Shuru's attention was drawn away from Sakura when he heard Rin yell. He was about to grab a tool when he noticed something in his chest pocket. It is. He fixed his gaze on the kunai that Savor had given him. As Savor stated, he always brings it with him when he is at school or away from home. It is actually illegal to bring something like this to school, but he manages to conceal it quite well. He grabs the kunai and sprints to the door while reinforcing it. He dashed to the door, pushing it open with his shoulder. As soon as he did so, the door shattered, and he turned to see some skeleton? Warrior skeleton. No. It is not a human skeleton, but it has a humanoid shape with only fangs for a head. As he was about to strike the skeleton warrior, an image of a certain blonde warrior wielding the same kunai flashed through his mind. He threw away the reinforced kunai instinctively, and it soared to the skeleton. When the skeleton notices this, he raises his sword to block the approaching projectile. However, as soon as the kunai struck the sword, it shattered like wood and rushed to the skeleton. Bang! Its power shattered the skeleton's bone, and its spine splintered like a twig, severing the creature in two. The skeleton body fell to the ground and disintegrated, while the kunai stabbed the ground. What exactly are these things? Shuru inquired as he gazed upon the dead skeleton. Rin blinked as she saw Shuru throw the kunai. That throw was excellent. He appears to be quite skilled at throwing something. She assumed it was normal because he was also very good at archery. Golem. Rin replied solemnly, a type of familiar. But how? She asked. I can understand if Ryder created this boundary field, but how did she summon familiar? Rin's thoughts were interrupted when she felt a chill from behind her and turned to see a black mist form on the ground. Are there more of them? I'll call Saber. Shuru said sternly, drawing Rin's attention to the black mist that had formed on the ground in front of them. Tasaka, have you already lost one of yours? Then I'll make use of mine. He said this while clenching his fist. He has a feeling there will be a lot of these creatures, and if they aren't careful, it will be the end of them. They require servants' assistance in dealing with them. Emiya-kun. Rin murmured as she fixed her gaze on Shuru. The black mist rises from the ground, and 3 dragon-tooth warriors appear behind and in front of them. Shuru clenches his fist tightly as he feels the command seal flare. Please. Come over here. Shuru murmured as he noticed the dragon-tooth warrior lunging at them. However, an orange flash appeared behind the dragon-tooth warrior, causing Shuru to pause and his eyes to widen as he saw someone emerge from it. Blaar. Blaar. Shuru and Rin are startled to see an orange blur around them, and in less than a second, the skeletons that surround them are destroyed like a toy crushed by a giant. Rin and Shuru's eyes widen as they notice a familiar orange coat waving in the air. The figure turns to them before looking around for a moment, then back to them and smiles as he pulls his triangular hat back. I see you're trapped in Ryder Boundary Field. He stated. Saver? Shuru exclaimed in surprise, and Rin on his side had a similar expression. Yo. He returned their greeting as he approached them. What brings you here? Rin asked, her face red from shock. How is Saver here? I've come because Shuru-kun summoned me. Naruto responded with a shrug. Rin and Shuru immediately turned to see the command seal on Shuru's hand. It is still finished. Naruto walks past them, taking his tri-pronged kunai from the ground and twirling it in his hand as Shuru and Rin watch him. And that kunai. Shuru remembered using it previously. This kunai isn't your typical kunai. When you put energy into it and then stab it into something, it will call me. I can teleport myself to the location of the kunai. Naruto explained everything to them. Teleport. However, a simple teleportation will not be able to pass through this boundary field. Rin was taken aback. This boundary field can even prevent servants from communicating with their master, unless they use the command seal, and no amount of teleportation will be able to break through it. Time, space teleportation. Naruto's correction caused Rin's eyes to widen even more. Impossible. Rin muttered in surprise. Space, time teleportation is similar to what command seal employs. It was at the true magic level. It is not the 5 magic of this era, but it is still true magic. Does he have any limitations? Rin yelled in her head. What is the matter with this servant? Not only he is fricking strong and wealthy, but he can also use true magic. What the hell is his name? He should not be summoned as an overpowered servant. You came here to help us, right? Shuru inquired. Yep. As I previously stated, Shuru-kun, I give you that kunai so you can call me when you are in danger, and of course, I will assist you. Naruto stated with a nod. So you're dealing with not only Ryder but also Caster, must be tough for you too. As he began to look around, he made a remark. Caster? Rin inquired. That skeleton thingy. It's Caster, not Ryder. He said this while motioning with his hand to where Dragon-tooth Warrior had been. I know Ryder isn't working with Caster. Not yet, which means Caster has already begun her move, possibly intending to use this boundary field to erase Shuru or Rin. Naruto reflected as he remembered his conversation with Ryder the day before. Rin and Shuru both hold their breath. Does this imply that Caster and Ryder have formed an alliance? She already has Assassin on her side, and now she has Ryder as well? This isn't working out. Anyway, for the time being, let us concentrate on breaking down this barrier. You and Ryder should go find Shinji Matu and Ryder. I'll take care of the boundary field. As he stated. Then come with us. Only by confronting Shinji will we be able to stop this boundary field. Rin informed him that with Saber on their side, they would no longer require Saber or Archer. Rin is confident that he can defeat Ryder without the assistance of Caster. No. I'm destroying this field right now, you two finish Shinji. I don't think he can get away like that after what he did today, do you? Naruto responded with a suggestion. Rin was about to protest when a puff of smoke appeared on Naruto's side and a clone of him was created. These handsome men will stick by you and be more than enough. Now I'll deal with the barrier. Naruto dashes to the window, breaking it before latching his leg to the wall with chakra and sprinting to the top. The clone who sees Rin and Shuru and makes a gesture to them. Alright, let's go. Caster in Ryudo Temple clenched her teeth and scowled as she observed the scene through her crystal ball. She already predicts that the boundary field will be active today, and she has a plan in place to deal with something like this. Tsuchiru-sama will be fine. She has already given him charm protection and reinforcement so that he cannot be harmed. Her strategy is straightforward but effective. She requires an army. Extra servant. A reinforcement. True, she has gained an ally in Lancer, but it is still insufficient. Lancer refuses to fight Saber in a group fight, but Ryder does. Ryder stated that she will consider it for the time being, but she will not have that. Riders can be killed and killed before doing anything. Oh, she didn't care about her, but she was concerned with her noble phantasm. It will, at the very least, be useful against Saber. Not to mention that Ryder can help Saber and Archer by causing her to stab one of them with Rule Breaker. True, she has Lancer and Assassin, but what the heck? The more she does, the more likely she is to succeed. She will have Tsuchiru-sama incapacitate Ryder until she is knocked out or unable to fight, at which point her familiar will kill Ryder Master. Ryder will no longer have a choice. If she wishes to remain in this world, she must form a contract that will be with her. Ryder will not vanish immediately, not after absorbing the amount of mana from the field. She'll have at least 2 or 3 hours before she vanishes. And then she will come to her. It will ensure her loyalty to her with Rule Breaker. She'll stab Lancer later, too. But now. The plan may grow larger than she anticipated. If both the girl and boy summon their own servant, Saber, or Archer. Caster is confident that they can hold their ground, even if only for a brief moment. But she clearly did not expect Saber to appear. For the love of God. Saber is extremely dangerous. It's far too dangerous. If he comes here, Tsuchiru-sama will be in more danger than she realizes. Delaying him will be even more difficult. She growled at that. She could teleport there to thank her master for her connection, but that wasn't her original plan. If she shows up now, there's a good chance Tsuchiru-sama discovered she was master. Well. It's better if he gets caught than dies. That cannot happen. It's just a matter of time. As she stood there, she noticed a shadow form around her before she vanished into the black mist. Despite Saber's good nature and the magnificent gift heir, Smut. Sure, Smut. She is not grateful for what he has given her. Hell, she's no longer a teen. It's better to admit it than to remain in denial. She likes that Smut. And she can't help but feel guilty for admitting it. She's decided she despises Saber. In the chemistry room with Shinji. Exceptionally well. Shinji remarked, a smirk on his face, as he stared at the blood barrier that surrounded the school. This is how a true master conducts himself. While waving his hair, he said smugly. Yeah. First rate. Really? Said Ryder as she stared at her master and rolled her eyes under her eye cover. She remarked sarcastically. Once this is over, maybe I'll go check out Emiya Withered Husk. Shinji chuckled as he brought his hand to his chin. He said this before chuckling evilly. That Emiya boy kept quiet while snorting inwardly. Ryder senses he is stronger than the average person. This barrier may hinder him, but Ryder is confident he can fight and defeat her useless master. Her ear perked up as she noticed something. She shifted her focus and tilted her head in that direction. Could someone please come? She reflected as her dagger appeared in her hands. Shinji notices this and stops laughing. What is it, Ryder? He inquired. Just as he asks, the door swings open, drawing Ryder's and his attention. Shinji's eyes widened as she noticed who it was as he stood up from the table in shock. What the hell? He exclaimed. The man who only comes in silence and approaches Shinji. How do you manage to move? Shinji insisted. Again, only silence, and he continues to walk forward. Shinji became terrified when he saw this. He takes a step back and gives the man his best look. Get out! He screamed. The man did not even bother to respond and continued walking. I'm going to warn you. You should stay away. Shinji yelled again, this time with fear in his voice. What the fuck? He gulped when he saw the man's eyes, which were cold and empty. He began to move slowly, but the man's gaze followed him, and he became paler. The man's eyes seemed to freeze him, to corner him. It almost looks like a snake glaring at its prey. Shinji tried his hardest to move, and he was successful as he turned around and began to run. Ryder! Shinji screamed in terror as he fled. The man's gaze follows him, and Ryder appears in front of him, holding her dagger and attacking the man. This man is a normal man, a master, so she won't have too many issues. But, to Ryder's surprise, the man caught her wrist with a speed that no ordinary man possessed. And with lightning speed, the man's hand extended and struck Ryder in the stomach. Hit. Ryder's eyes widened in surprise beneath her eye cover. That was painful. It's almost as if a servant punched her instead of a human. She stepped back a few feet with a gasp as she tried to balance herself, and she looked at the man with surprise. Reinforced? However, the level reinforcement is caster. Ryder reflected as she noticed the man's entire body flashing in pink aura for a brief moment. Why is caster here? She grumbled inwardly. Tsuchiru-sama, please finish it quickly and finish the boy as soon as possible. Saver is on his way there. Tsuchiru was surprised, but he didn't show it. Saver. Caster had shown how dangerous that man is through her memory, and he had also watched Saver battle Berserker. When Tsuchiru sees Saver, he thinks of one thing. Assassin. Assassin is without a doubt Saver. The way he moved, the fighting style he displayed. It had an assassin aura to it. Assassins are usually people who hide in the shadows and strike from there. They are shady at night and unnoticed. However, Saver can be lethal at any time of day or night. And with his strength, if he takes the assassin job seriously, Saver will be the most dangerous person in here. I see. Caster, it won't be long. Tsuchiru responded by taking a stance and dash. Ryder didn't have time to find out what Caster's plan was because the man dashed in front of her, forcing her to prepare herself once more. Tsuchiru extended his hand, aiming for her head. Ryder tilted her head and dodged it, only for the arm to twist towards her side and strike her ribs. GH. What the? Grunted Ryder as another hit landed on her. How can it twist like that if it was aimed at my head? Ryder didn't give up and moved her hand faster to hit him as she held the pain before thrusting her dagger, and Tsuchiru dodged it. Tsuchiru's hand blurred once more, like a snake, and he swatted away Ryder's hand before thrusting it to Ryder's head. Rider prepared to avoid it, but she was unprepared when it changed direction and hit her in the back of the head. Rider exclaimed as her vision became blurry. She can't see, but she uses a trick like a bat or something similar to see, but whoever you are, if you get hit like that, you'll stumble. Except if you can't feel pain like Berserker, but that's another story. Boom. A massive explosion echoed and the ground shook once more. Rider's eyes widened beneath her eye mask as she realized her boundary field had vanished. No, not at all. It shattered. Impossible. Who is it that destroyed this rough boundary field? Rider was taken aback. While it is true that this boundary field can be destroyed, it will require a very powerful attack. However, destroying the field will cause all of the mana in the field to explode and destroy everything in its path. While the majority of them have been brought to her, there are still a large number that are stored in the field and remain active. But, to her surprise, there was no destruction. All of the mana appears to disappear. It appears to have been absorbed somewhere. She broke free from her thoughts when Tsuchiru appeared in front of her again, her hand extended and Rider tilted her head to avoid it, but due to the previous hit, her move became sloppy and her posture slumped. This is terrible. I'm way underestimating him. Rider reflected as she stumbled as a result of the hit. Grab. Rider coughed as a strong grip tightened around her neck. Tsuchiru's finger wrapped around and dug into her neck like a snake tying its prey. Her breath is lifeless, she can feel the air leaving her lungs, and her neck is nearly broken. She gasped and choked, desperate for air to survive. This battle, if Rider takes it seriously, will be more difficult than he anticipated, but Rider had underestimated him. A fatal error: never underestimate a snake, no matter how small. Its poison can still kill you if it bites you in the right place. Assassin, on the other hand, will not hesitate to strike you down if given the opportunity. Even the most powerful king can succumb to Assassin if the circumstances are favorable. He can now kill her by applying more pressure to her neck, which will snap. However, Caster's order is to keep her alive. So he grunts and throws Rider with force. Rider soared like a thrown rock rather than a living being. Her back collided with the wall, burying her, and she coughed up a large amount of blood as she felt her bone was crushed by the impact. Tsuchiru, seeing his job completed, turns to Shinji with a solemn expression. Shinji's face paled as he realized Rider had died. He turned to face Rider and screamed, "What are you doing, servant? Take a seat. Take a seat." Tsuchiru is not the type to talk during battle, and he is also aware that if Shinji uses command seal, it will be dangerous. So he dashed forward and extended his fist to Shinji. Crunch. Tsuchiru extended his fist and struck Shinji's head, the blue-haired man's head. Matu's neck was broken, his eyes were wide open, and his face was pure shock. Then, gradually, his body sank to his knees and fell to the ground. Shinji Matu, who was known at the time, was no longer alive. Caster. I'm finished. He communicated with his servant via their linked minds. Tsuchiru looks at his deceased student. He had no feelings for his dead. Shinji Matu brought him this fate through his own actions. He activated the boundary field in the hopes of killing everyone and giving mana to Rider, including himself. Why should he feel sorry for himself? To him, he's just another assassin sent by his former organization to track him down. Not to mention he was occasionally irritated by Shinji's prickly behavior. On the killer side, a petal and pink aura appeared, and it morphed into Caster. Tsuchiru is taken aback by the appearance of the Magus from Age of Gods. Her clothes are ruined, and there is a hole in part of her bellycloth. Caster's condition is obvious, as evidenced by the burn mark on her belly. Tsuchiru-sama, we must depart from here. The rescuer is on his way. She spoke through the blood dripping from her mouth and forehead beneath her hood. Kazuki could only nod when he saw Caster's condition. The Magus approaches her master before casting a glance at the servant of Mount. She intends to stab her with Rule Breaker right now, but since Saver and that boy and girl are on their way here, it will be dangerous. Your master is no longer alive, and your mana reserve will only keep you alive for a few hours due to the energy you absorbed from this field. Come to my place and I will give you more information. You know where to find me. And hurry, because that Emiya boy and Magus girl are on their way here with a Saver clone. Castor stated before she and Tsuchiru vanished in the black mist. Ryder gurgled as she tried to stand after hearing that. So, Castor's plan. She wants her to come to her after Shinji has died, and she manages to keep a smirk on her face. Fortunately for her, her master is Sakura. And now that Shinji is no longer alive, she can feel her true master mana flowing to her. She'll be stronger in the next fight, but it was still painful. I need to get away now, but Ryder sighed. Knowing she wouldn't be able to escape Saver, she said, I hope your majesty give me some chance. She hoped as she assumed spirit form and vanished. Previously, with the original Naruto. Naruto jumped through the school wall before flipping in the air and landing on top. He raised his head, staring at the massive eyeball in the sky that gathered everyone. Mana. Now, how do we get rid of this thing? He has the ability to easily destroy this boundary field. Rasen Shuriken does not need to destroy it. It is only ranked B. He can throw Efton, Rasengan, Wind Release, Rasengan, and a plus rank attack that can be upgraded to A++ with Senjutsu. All of his techniques increased one parameter or 1+ if he is in Sage mode, and will increase even more if he synchronizes Senjutsu with Kurama Chakra. Rasengan will be more than enough to destroy this field, according to Efton. But the issue arises after it has been destroyed. Naruto knew that destroying it recklessly would result in a massive explosion. If the mana that flowed to the eye is destroyed in this manner, it is enough to destroy the entire school, and while he and the servants can survive, the human is something else. Perhaps I should use that. Kuchios no Jutsu. Summoning technique, Naruto murmured as he bit his thumb and slightly drew blood. Poof. A large pot stands on Naruto's side. The pot was emblazoned with the kanji for lightning, and a thick rope was tied around its rim. All I have to do now is seal all the mana to Kohaku no J. As he patted the pot, Naruto said. Hell, the pot can seal a person or soul inside it. It can even seal Biju, the chakra's embodiment. It can't be that difficult to seal some mana. Naruto then returns his gaze to the big eye in the sky and closes his eyes. He can feel his clone pop up somewhere in the city and give him his sage chakra as his eyelids are covered in orange marks and his pupil has turned toad-like. He then extended one of his hands, revealing a swirling blue sphere on his palm, before his face shifted to concentration. A slight wind shuriken formed on the Rasengan as soon as he did that. Naruto has spent his entire life learning how to make Rasen Shuriken with one hand. No. He won't be able to make perfect Rasen Shuriken with just one hand. He'll need at least one Kage Bunshin to achieve the perfect balance. However, creating a mini version or a weaker version with one hand is not impossible, though it will take a few seconds to complete, as opposed to Dama Rasengan, which he can create in an instant due to the need to sync the Rasengan with Senjutsu energy. He cast a glance at the barrier and cocked his arm back before hurling it at the Crimson Eye. Rasengan, Efton. The palm-sized human soared into the sky. Before it hits the eye, it makes a screeching sound like wind grinding against each other. Boom. Because of the large amount of mana that flowed to it, the moment the jutsu hit the eye, it sliced through like butter rather than boundary field who leveled near sorcery, causing a massive explosion. Naruto, seeing this, went to Kohaku no J and opened the large pot, channeling chakra to it. The pot immediately recognizes a large amount of mana that is about to go berserk and draws them to it. The mana in the sky is swirling before all of them are launched into the pot. Zuun. Naruto noticed that the mana had been absorbed into the pot and that it was not as large as he had thought. Should he use normal scroll instead? Although it will take more time to recreate the rune for sealing, this is more worthy and simple to use. He closes the pot once the mana has been completely depleted and returns Rakuto Sennin's treasure to where he keeps all his other belongings. He turns around to see that the sky has brightened and the bloodied view around him has returned to normal. Using Kohaku no J will immediately kill a normal person. Even Servant will enjoy using their noble phantasm. But it was nothing to Naruto, who has X mana and extra from Kyuubi if he needs it. True, he sweated a little, but he still has many to choose from if he so desires. After all, he didn't require mana from Monaka. While his master magic circuit quality is quite high, she will be unable to assist him if he employs Kyuubi mode or Shinobi Rengun no Jutsu, allied shinobi forces technique. She can provide enough mana for him, but he can only use it once if he uses her mana. If he uses his own, he can use them 3 times per day without becoming exhausted. What? My mana level is X. Iskander with C mana can summon Reality Marble only once every 2 nights. Datbeo, the difference between C and X is huge. If you want, you can look it up on Wikia. Naruto yelled at the screen, pumping his fist, before blinking, "Who the hell am I talking to?" He shrugged before dismissing his sage mode. After all, he needed to save his chakra, and the danger had already passed. However, Naruto is unaware that if he maintains his sage mode for a longer period of time, he will be able to avoid imminent danger. That was a very powerful technique, Naruto. Monaka's voice echoed in his mind. Hey. Nothing has changed. Monaka-chan, you see nothing. Just watch the cycle of dreams to see how amazing I am. Though seeing you now just in the beginning, I must tell you the dream will be unpleasant. He boasted proudly in his mind before grimacing. My childhood was terrible, and I mean really terrible, Monaka-chan. Naruto added as he reflected on his past. Is it that bad? Monaka inquired as well, albeit with a slight frown. After what Kyuubi did to the entire village, how will everyone treat it if it shrinks? Monaka-chan, that was my curse. Naruto exclaimed. I see. Monaka responded with a sympathetic tone. Naruto blinked as a memory of his clone flashed through his mind, and he smirked a little. That was fascinating. Previously, with Rin, Shuru, and the Naruto clone. BLAAR. BLAAR. Shuru and Rin watched in awe as Naruto annihilated the entire army of Dragon Tooth Warrior, who continued on their way like a toy. He wields dual kunai, which are enhanced by invisible wind as he spins his body and cuts through enemies like butter. He ducked under one skeleton slash before kicking its rib, breaking it like iron on wood. He twirls his kunai before turning and delivering Horizon Slash to a group of Dragon Tooth Warrior, cutting them like butter. He was as skilled as Saber and faster than Archer. And this is just a copy of him? Rin gulped as he watched Naruto fight. Hey. If you're done staring in awe, we have to go. Saber summoned them and forced them to leave their minds. Ah. Tasaka, you're correct. Where can I find the source? Shuru inquired. That way. Rin exclaimed, and they resumed their run. As they descend another flight of stairs, they are greeted by a large army of Dragon Tooth Warriors, the number of which is greater than the one they destroyed thus far. Another bunch. Shuru said angrily, Saber, you already blast a dozen or more of these things. How many of these things are there? Rin yelled, growling. Tisk. These things irritate me. Naruto mumbled, his eyes narrowing. Now that it was clear that Castor was attempting to obstruct their progress, Naruto could tell that these warriors had not been present previously. Meaning they instantly summoned here with the intent of delaying their arrival, implying the summoner is nearby. Castor has arrived. I'm sorry, but I'm going to break the school a little. Naruto apologized, stating that he did not intend to blast this thing one by one. Eh? Rin's eyes blinked. Naruto performs 3 hand seals quickly before inhaling a large amount of air. He exhaled as he saw the group of Dragon Tooth Warrior launch towards him. Efton. Fien no Jutsu. Wind Release Technique. Dust Cloud Technique. Naruto exhales a stream of high-velocity wind laden with dense dust particles. The dense wind that was covered in dust turned into a deadly wave that easily destroyed the army of skeletons. Swoosh. Boom. The wind did not stop there. It continued forward, destroying everything in its path, including the window, wall, floor, and top part of the corridor. They were all blasted like tornadoes. Rin and Shuru were forced to cover their faces and eyes as a massive amount of wind and dust blew towards them. When they opened their eyes, the entire corridor has vanished, leaving nothing but ruins. Is that some kind of spell? No. That was similar to Noble Phantasm. Or A+ at the very least. You've got to be kidding me. His clone is also a monster. Rin screamed in her head as she saw Saber's destructive power. This is not right. Why did Sajiu use her luck to get a servant like this? Saber was even acquired by Emiya-kun. Why is she the only one who has Archer? Tasaka. Let's get started. Shuru's voice jolted her out of her reverie, and she turned to him with a weak nod. Saber in front of them begins walking again, and they follow. They resume their sprint to their destination, with Rin pointing the way. However, before long, Saber abruptly came to a halt, causing both masters to closely monitor his every move. Saber? Shuru dialed in, perplexed. Naruto didn't respond as his eyes narrowed to the corridor sharply, extending his presence detection for a moment before smirking slightly and calling out. You can demonstrate yourself, caster. When black mist appeared not far from Rin and Shuru's position, they tensed. Then it transforms into a humanoid figure in front of Caster, who appears in all her glory. I have to say, Saber, I didn't expect you to be here. Caster observed Saber with a dry remark. Ma. Don't be like Caster-chan. How is the gift I gave you? Naruto inquired with a sly grin while resting one hand on his hip. Caster had the decency to blush under her hood as she remembered the literatus smut. The smut she read, thankfully she was wearing a hood so no one could see her blush, though she was sure Saber saw it as her grin widened for a moment. She growled at Saber and glared at him. Stop talking. It is none of your concern. Her response caused Naruto's foxy grin to widen once more. She coughed to regain control and speak calmly. I'm sorry, but I can't let you two go looking for Ryder right now. What? Why? Why are you here in the first place? Rin insisted. I have my own plan, little girl, and if you stay in here for a moment, there will be no need for a battle. Didn't you think there was already enough bloodshed today? Caster inquired, gesticulating to everything around them. Rin and Shuru paused as they considered what Caster thought. What Caster said is practically true. The field already takes a lot of resources away from the school, but how can you say such a thing? You are one of the people in charge of this field. You've joined forces with Ryder. Rin snarled in displeasure while accusing. No, I did not. I didn't ally myself with Ryder. Caster retorted, much to Rin and Shuru's surprise. Not yet, she said calmly. I came here like you to remove this field. Right now, my acquaintance is at Ryder and will force her to remove the field. Oh? And why do you do it? There's no way you'd offer something like that out of nowhere. Shuru inquired, his eyes narrowed. Right, Emiya-kun, there's no way you'll come and help us like this. Unless your master is also a student at this school. Shuru's side added Rin with a smirk. Inwardly, Caster clicked her tongue in annoyance. This girl is quite intelligent, but this is quite obvious. She is also confident that they will learn about it even if she does not come here personally. You are correct. I do not want my master to be harmed, which is why I will clear this field. Why not refer to this as a temporary truce? She made a offer. She is not afraid of Saver because he is only a clone. She had seen it through her crystal ball, and while she is wary of the real Saver, a clone is nothing to her. Rin and Shuru exchanged glances. True, they didn't have proof that Castor would keep her word, but her master's survival comes first, so she will undoubtedly erase the field. But something doesn't feel right. What are your thoughts, Saver? Rin inquired. Naruto, who only spoke in silence, gave her a sidelong glance and shrugged. If I were you, I would keep going because there is no guarantee that what she said is true. Aside from that, she appears to have an ulterior motive. Naruto proposed, of course, we can see this acquaintance and see what surprise she has. He finished with a sly grin. Castor, who heard that, glared at Saver, and if a look can kill, he'd be dead by now. I despise you, Saver. She stated. I adore you, Castor-chan. Naruto replied with a grin, twirling kunai in his hands, I suggest you take 2 steps back. He said to Rin and Shuru, who were taking a step back. Do you believe a mere clone like you can compete with me? I doubt you could even scratch me. Castor scoffed as a swarm of light pink spheres appeared on her back. Naruto's mouth widened as he witnessed this, while Castor's magic attack glowed. Efton, Shinkoku. Means, wind release, vacuum sphere. Numerous invisible spheres welcome the numerous light rays that shoot. Castor spell is an A-level attack, whereas Naruto only has a B-level attack. The outcome is clear and obvious, but Naruto's attack's durability is sufficient to cause the spell to explode before it reaches him. Boom, boom, boom. Castor is aware of this, as she is also holding back due to the small amount of space between them. If she is not careful, she will be blown away as well. Naruto emerges from the smoke, holding 2 tri-pronged kunai. As he throws it to the Magus, he enchants both of them with chakra. Castor tilted her head to avoid the energy on the kunai. Her eyes widened as another kunai slammed into her face, but this time it was 3. She bowed her head and clicked her tongue. She manages to avoid them with luck, but one manages to graze her face, drawing blood. Ha! You blew it. Castor smirked as she brought her hand and another group of light sphere launch ray beams to Naruto. However, just as the 3 light pink rays were about to connect to the blonde servant, he vanished in an orange flash, shocking Castor. What? Where can I find? Castor's eyes widened as he saw this. She felt a presence behind her and turned just in time to see Naruto appear from behind her, holding a swirling sphere in his right palm. How could he have? Rasengan. Dune. Naruto thrust the sphere to Castor's belly, causing her to scream in agony. Blood pours from her mouth as blue swirling energy engulfs her entire body before Naruto pushes her away with a single thrust and blasts her away like some potatoes. Boom. Castor smashed through the wall, destroying it, and continued to soar while destroying another wall as if it were made of wood rather than cement. Rin and Shuru stared in awe as Naruto defeated Castor so easily. This man is merely a clone, but he defeated the true servant without breaking a sweat. His real body is capable of defeating Berserker. So it's no surprise that his clone can defeat Castor. Not to mention the fact that there isn't much space in here. But even so, Rin swallowed hard. Furthermore, it was unknown how many Saver could summon his clone. Battling him will be difficult. Very difficult. It will be nearly impossible to defeat Saver if he summons more than 10 of his clones. What Rin believes is true, and the reason Castor loses. Naruto is in this condition because the space is too small for him and Castor underestimates him. Naruto is aware of this, and he is also aware that Castor is unaware of Hiraishin's secret, Flying Thunder God. That is how he managed to catch Castor off guard and beat her. Boom. Suddenly, a massive explosion echoed from above, shaking the entire area and causing everything around them to tremble. What the hell is going on now? Rin yelled as she clutched something to keep herself from falling. Shuru, who was also holding on to a nearby wall, had his eyes widen when he saw the outside view return to normal. The crimson-red boundary field begins to break up into particles. "Tasaka," he called, and Rin looked out the window, wide-eyed, at the scene. "A field," Rin murmured as she noticed the field had vanished. Meanwhile, Naruto is unconcerned as he continues to stare at the location where Castor launched. He knew he had her, and it was obvious because she had underestimated her. However, she is still alive. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he looked at where Castor had been blown off and true. Castor emerges from the ruins. Her outfit is ruined, but not enough to reveal her face. There is a burn mark on her stomach that is visible through her ruined outfit. That was very close. I was able to install a barrier, but it was insufficient. Castor remarked that her movement is sluggish and that blood was dripping from her mouth and forehead. She was clearly no longer engaged in combat. "Castor-chan, you underestimated me. Even though I'm just a clone, I still servant. And I have more than enough in here to defeat you." Naruto stated this while pulling out another kunai and twirling it in his hand. Castor only panted in response as she took a stance. It was bad, and her situation was clearly dire. She needs to step back, but if she does... "Castor. I'm finished." As she heard her master's report, Castor's eyes widened. She smirked. It appears they at least completed their mission. It also demonstrates that her reinforcement is powerful enough to enable her master to fight servant. Very good. Saver, you have won. But the next time will be different. She said this as she dispersed into pink dust particles. Naruto only stares at Castor as he flees, his face solemn. He returned his gaze to Rin and Shuru before nodding. "Let's get started. Rin-chan, show us the way," he stated. Rin nodded before she and Shuru resumed their run, followed by Saver, who stood guard. They descended to another floor via stairs, and Rin can sense the location of the magical circle that had previously activated the field. Chemistry laboratory. There. They dash into the room as Naruto starts it. Shuru and Rin enter, holding their breath, while Naruto's eyes become solemn. Shinji Matu is lying not far from their position. His body lay on the ground, but his head twisted 180 degrees, his eyes wide open in shock, and blood dripped from his mouth. Shinji. Shuru was shocked to see his friend dead. Naruto only looked at the body before turning his head in the opposite direction. He narrowed his eyes as he observed the damaged room. The room isn't as badly damaged as it should be. The fight ended quickly and cleanly. Like assassination. Well, I guess the case is closed, Naruto thought as he noticed a hazy figure laying on the wall. He stated this while crossing his arms across his chest and maintaining a neutral expression. Rin on his side nodded, taking a moment to process what she saw. True, Shinji is a jerk for working in this field, but at the very least, she is aware of her situation. Yeah. With Shinji gone, Ryder gone. One servant is finished. She responded with the same calm expression. Shuru, meanwhile, kneels on his friend's body while fixing his body with a grim face, moves his hand and closes Shinji's eyes, making his face peaceful. He may have a problem with Shinji because of his abuse of Sakura, and he is also the one in charge of the field, but still. They used to be friends. At least, Shuru believes so. But who is Castor's acquaintance? It is capable of defeating Servant, so it is possible that it is also Servant. Rin mumbled. Assassin is my best guess. Anyway, seeing all your friend's conditions, I suggest you call an ambulance now, says Naruto. He informed them. He's right. Shuru, come on, we need to get out of here and call for help. But where is Shinji? There's nothing you can do for him. People will be suspicious if you bring his body. Rin addressed the redhead teen. Rin is confident that Kirei will be able to explain all of the evidence. Shuru clenches his fist and stares at Shinji's body, clearly unhappy with the situation. He reluctantly stands and silently swears that he will end this war as soon as possible so that none of his friends will perish. What say you, Savior? Rin inquired of the Savior's servant. I suppose my job is also done. We didn't get many other than the fact that Castor and Assassin are at least allies. And as for Lancer, I believe you too, along with Ilya-chan, should exercise caution. He lectured them, and Rin put on a thoughtful expression. Many thanks for your assistance. Shuru expressed his gratitude, though his voice sounded weak because he was still in shock over his friend's death. No worries. We might be enemies the next time we meet, so be cautious and stay alive until then. Rest Rider. You can feel relieved now that you have returned to your true master. Naruto thought before dispelling with a puff of white smoke. Rin and Shuru exchanged glances. Shuru's mind was clearly tainted by Shinji's death, as the senior Magus could see. She placed her hand on his shoulder and gently squeezed it. Alright, Emiya-kun. She dialed. Hi. Shuru cast a glance over his shoulder at Shinji before slumping and walking away with Rin by his side. Part of him is angry at Castor. Yes, his friend is to blame, but there is no need for such extreme measures. But what if he refused to listen? We all know Shinji is obstinate. Shuru's mind hissed. What will happen to Sakura, Fujine, and everyone? Will you let him go after he threatens to kill all your friends? Shuru didn't say anything. He knows he'll do the same if Shinji refuses to lay down the field, but... No. While it was extreme, Castor did what was necessary to cancel the field. Shinji may be my friend, but he is not Castor's. So it's only natural for her to take drastic measures if her master is threatened by this field. I can't blame her, but I don't have to like it. Shuru thought as he clenched his fist. Not to mention what Shinji did to the entire school is unforgivable. Shinji could be sentenced to death if he does not follow police protocol. It was just punishment for what he did. Justice. His ambition to become a justice hero. So, Shuru Emiya, tell me. Is that child's life equal to that mayor's? Is the children's life equal to that of Sakura Matu, your sister, or possibly more? Shuru's mind was filled with the words and quote, Savor. This is also a hero of justice deed. If he wants to be a hero of justice, he must extract Shinji, whether he likes it or not. Taking his friend's life in order to save everyone. Sacrificing his precious life to save everyone. Is it deserving? Shuru-kun, not all life is created equal. Even if they are children. Your precious people will always come first, no matter who it is. Why? Because you'd be dead without them. People who are dead and want nothing but emptiness. Sakura, Fujine, Issei, and all of his friends flashed through his mind. Then it was replaced by him killing them one by one in cold blood in order to save everyone. No. No. I will not. I'm not going to do it. Whatever the case may be. But, as a justice hero, Shuru clenched his teeth as his nail dug into his skin, drawing a small amount of blood. Is it deserving? What is his ideal? At the expense of his precious people? Is he really capable of such feats? He is now content with his life. Together with Fujine, Sakura, Saber, and Tasaka. What about his ideal if he is happy? Isn't he already content? Shuru Emiya began to doubt his ideal for the first time in his life. Original Naruto is back. Naruto looks at the ambulance and police officers who have arrived to inspect Homurahara Academy. He observes hundreds of students and teachers being treated. There are also police officers who come to investigate the situation. His Bunshin's memory of the battle with Castor also flooded his mind. Castor. Is she a threat if she fights at close range? His clone easily defeated her, despite the fact that her pink light beam was as powerful as Chidori Senbon's and was a larger version of it. The speed is also comparable to the Uchiha technique. If she has something like that as a weapon, she could be very dangerous. Especially if she fights from a long distance. Are you the Lancer that Castor mentioned? Naruto inquired as he sensed a presence behind him, which was confirmed. Lancer stands behind him, his crimson lance on his shoulder. Nope. No, I didn't. I've come here because I also sensed that massive explosion, mana. Lancer laughed as he stood on Naruto's side. Well, that mana explosion will undoubtedly be felt by all Magus or supernaturally aware beings. After all, it's clearly quite large. Naruto stated. But what do you do? The mana I sense is large, and just as it is about to explode, it shrinks and vanishes. Lancer inquired, intrigued. That is telling, Lancer. Naruto smirked and said mysteriously. How's Castor doing? Why are you questioning me? Lancer inquired, his brow furrowed, and Naruto snorted. Please. I'm sure Castor will propose an alliance to beat me after the party, but you and Saber's group will decline. You, on the other hand, will not join her to fight me, but you will join her to face Berserker, Saber, and Archer, right? Naruto stated matter-of-factly while crossing his arms across his chest, an annoying smirk on his face. Lancer snorted back, surprised by Naruto's deduction, but he knows he shouldn't after seeing what he's capable of. I'm not sure about that sorceress. I only work with her to take down the Saber group, and while I do come in and talk strategy, she didn't tell me about this one. Lancer told the blonde. I see. Assassin will be unable to leave the temple unless Castor provides him with mana, which will still make defeating Rider impossible. If not you, then who? Assassination. Could it be Castor Master? Naruto paused, his eyes narrowing. But there's no way he'll be able to defeat Rider. Or human. Or servant. Maybe there's more from Castor that I'm missing. This could be a problem, he thought cautiously. Don't think too hard about it, Your Majesty. Oh, and can I have my extra presents? Lancer inquired, extending his hand as if expecting something. Naruto blinked at that, then chuckled and nodded before pulling a small scroll from his pocket. He rolls it open, then places his arm against the middle rune. Poof. Naruto takes a football-sized pot from the scroll before handing it to Lancer. Here. I'm not sure if your master enjoys spicy foods, but if he does, curry of life is the best food he's ever had. He said with a grin hidden beneath his hat. Lancer took the pot with a slight grimace. He still remembers how spicy curry tastes, and he won't even dare to eat it. Not any longer. 2 scoops are more than enough. Believe me, I surprised my master by wanting to eat this abomination. He murmured but blanched when Naruto delivered a karate chop to the back of his head. It's called curry of life for a reason, you know, it saved people's lives, so at the very least respect it. Lancer only grumbled in response to Saber's light reprimand. I'm not sure how it saves people. I even had my vision destroyed as a result of eating this food. Lancer grumbled as he had a nightmare in which he choked on spicy food and died. To be honest, the famous Si Chilane was killed by a plate of spicy curry. That is so not cool. Anyway. I'll return to my master Lancer, and I'll see you in battle. Lancer nodded as Naruto spoke. Yes, I also need to return. My master is also looking forward to this food. Your Majesty, I'm sorry to say this, but there's something strange with your master, Lancer replied before his eyes narrowed. Naruto paused and chuckled, giving Lancer a knowing look. Lancer is someone I know. Believe me, I am aware of how my master minds situation. Anyway, I have to leave. He stated. Yes, Your Majesty, see you later. Lancer noticed Naruto nodding to him before disappearing in an orange flash. Lancer cast a glance below him to all students and civilians before entering astral form and leaving. After all, his master is already waiting for his food. In church, Kirei Kotomine smiled with delight as he saw Lancer take the curry from Savor. He really wanted to taste the curry after seeing the spicy food for the first time at the 5th Grail War meeting yesterday. But he was hesitant to request it because he had not come but dared to make a request, which was insulting. When Savor decides to give them a souvenir, he immediately asks Lancer to get him some of that delicious food. And Savor obliges. Right now, he can't wait to taste this curry of life. What's the matter, Kotomine? You appear to be very happy. Kirei turned to face the Golden King, who had emerged from his room. He didn't leave his room for 2 days because of the game, and now he appears to have finished it. Nothing, Gilgamesh, I'm just waiting for Lancer to bring me food. Gilgamesh grimaced slightly but managed to hide it beneath his scowl. He recalls the flavor of the spicy mapo tofu that Kirei always ate. Gilgamesh has no idea how Kirei eats, let alone enjoys, that stuff. Do you have another mapo tofu? With a scowl, he inquired. No. It's a new one, and I can tell it's better than my usual mapo tofu. Kirei exclaimed joyfully. Gilgamesh can't hide his scowl this time. The mapo tofu is already extremely hot. It was as if the Chinese chef had harnessed the wrath of Ishtar herself. And now there's another hotter and spicier food? I hope you're not going to serve that for lunch or dinner later, Kotomine. Gilgamesh made a silent threat. He's already got stomach after eating the damn food. If there's anything spicier than mapo tofu. Certainly not my king. I intend to consume it all by myself. Kirei responded greedily, and Gilgamesh did not criticize or comment. He is free to eat whatever he wants. Where do you get this? Spicy food? Is there a new restaurant in town? Gilgamesh inquired. He needs to know if there is anything new in his world, and who knows this place will serve another good meal at the very least. Oh, it's Savor. Kirei responded, and Gilgamesh blinked. Can that extra servant cook? Gilgamesh inquired, his eyes narrowed. I'm not sure about that, but he has a recipe for the new spicy food I want. Maybe he'll hire some people and tell them to follow the recipe. I see. So, what did he do while I was gone for 2 days? That's all. He only gathers a feast for all participants in the 5th Holy Grail War, similar to what Ryder did in the 4th War. That piqued Gilgamesh's interest, as he snapped his neck to Kirei with a surprised expression. What? He called a meeting of all the servants? Gilgamesh expressed an interest. It was only yesterday. He summons all servants, and they all arrive. Archer and Saber arrive with their masters, whereas Master Berserker arrives alone due to his status. Kirei responded as he noticed the Gold King's surprised expression. A meeting of all war participants. Gilgamesh mumbled. That is intriguing. While he is not interested in meeting Mongrel, his Saber is also present. And this Saber had piqued his interest, so the meeting will be worthwhile for him to attend. But he didn't invite anyone. Gilgamesh scowled in displeasure as he shot a glare at Kirei, but the priest did not even flinch under the King of Heroes' terrifying gaze. And you didn't inform me of this, Kotomine? With a growl, Gilgamesh inquired. Oh, you never inquire about it. Kirei simply replied, smirking as he saw Gilgamesh's displeasure. It was rare to irritate Gilgamesh, so when he did, the look on the king's face was enough to give Kirei pleasure. Not to mention you're preoccupied with your game. He added much to Gilgamesh's chagrin and much to his pleasure. Gilgamesh openly growled at Kirei this time, but the priest showed no fear. This man's emptiness nature is both intriguing and vexing at times. Tell me what happened at the party, Kotomine. Gilgamesh demanded, and Kirei complied. The party is being held at Savor's house. He kept it in the Anchor Vanshan flying fortress. Kirei began, and Gilgamesh looked surprised this time. Fortress that flies? He admits to having a fortress in a Vimana. But he never had one that flew. Not even on his prize. He's never had one, has he? He had, after all, seen Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Aerial Garden of Vanity. But in his timeline, that thing isn't finished yet, and he never gets a chance to see it, so he never gets to ride it or learn about it. How does this mongrel have such wealth? Gilgamesh thought, his eyes narrowed. No way, mongrel. This saver may be more than he imagined. If he has such treasure, this servant is clearly something worthy of his attention. Keep going, Kotamine. Gilgamesh demanded, gesticulating with his hand. Gilgamesh resolved to see this saver-class servant on his own. And it will happen sooner than he thinks. After all, he hasn't found anything this interesting in the last 10 years. Perhaps, after 10 years of waiting, there will be something else worthy of his time.
That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.